You're just a glorified housekeeper, Lena. Know your place, Gavin sneered, his words slicing through the air like a knife. I stood there, stunned, my hands gripping the edge of the kitchen counter. The man I'd married 5 years ago, the one who'd swept me off my feet with his charm and grand promises, now looked at me with contempt. My name is Lena, and this is the moment I realized my marriage was a sham. Excuse me? I managed to choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. Gavin rolled his eyes, leaning against the doorframe with an air of superiority. Oh, come on. You quit your fancy engineering job to what? Work from home. Please. You're just playing house while I bring in the real money. I felt my cheeks burn with anger and humiliation. I'm a freelance engineer, Gavin. I contribute just as much. To what? He interrupted, laughing coldly. Your little projects? Face it, Lena. Without me, you'd be nothing. The words hit me like a physical blow. I turned away, busying myself with the dishes in the sink, trying to hide the tears threatening to spill. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Gavin sighed. Look, I've got great news. I've put an offer on that house we saw last week. I spun around, eyes wide. What? We agreed it was way out of our budget. Gavin waved his hand dismissively. Budget schmudget. We deserve the best, don't we? Besides, Mother agrees it's perfect for us. Of course. Rhea. His mother's opinion always seemed to outweigh mine these days. Gavin, we can't afford Dash. We can and we will. He cut me off, his tone brooking no argument. I'm the one making the real decisions here, Lena. It's time you accepted that. As he strode out of the kitchen, leaving me alone with my thoughts, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing myself in this marriage. The dreams we'd once shared of building a life together as equals seemed to be crumbling before my eyes. I glanced at my reflection in the window, barely recognizing the woman staring back at me. How had I let things get this far? And more importantly, what was I going to do about it? Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would test my resilience, challenge everything I thought I knew about love, and ultimately lead me to reclaim my life on my own terms. I stared at the bank statement, my heart sinking. The down payment for the house had wiped out our savings. Gavin's extravagant purchase loomed over us like a storm cloud. Gavin, we need to talk about this, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. He glanced up from his phone, annoyance flashing across his face. What now, Lena? I took a deep breath. This house. It's too much. We can't afford it. Gavin scoffed. Of course we can. I make plenty. But what about our other expenses? Our retirement savings? He rolled his eyes. You worry too much. Besides, Mother thinks it's a great investment. There it was again. Rhea's opinion trumping mine. Gavin, I'm your wife. My concerns matter too. He stood up, towering over me. Look, Lena, you should be grateful. How many women get to live in a house like this without lifting a finger? The word stung. I work, Gavin. I contribute. Please, he sneered. Your little freelance gigs? That's not real work. I felt my resolve crumbling. Was he right? Was I overreacting? Just then, Gavin's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, a smile playing on his lips. I've got to take this, he said, stepping out of the room. I couldn't help myself. I crept closer to the door, straining to hear. Hey, beautiful. Gavin's voice was soft, tender. A tone he rarely used with me anymore. No, don't worry. Lena doesn't suspect a thing. My blood ran cold. Suspect what? I can't wait to see you either, Sophie. Tomorrow, same place. Sophie. The name echoed in my head. Gavin's new colleague. The one he'd been spending so much time with lately. I stumbled back, my mind reeling. The lavish house, the dismissive attitude, the secret phone calls. It all started to make a sickening kind of sense. As Gavin's muffled laughter drifted through the door, I felt something shift inside me. The hurt and confusion gave way to a steely resolve. I'd been a fool, but no more. It was time to find out exactly what my husband was hiding. And this time, I wouldn't let his charm or Rhea's criticism hold me back. The web of deceit was unraveling, and I was determined to follow every thread, no matter where it led. I sat across from Maya at our favorite coffee shop, my hands wrapped tightly around a mug of rapidly cooling latte. The weight of my discovery pressed down on me like a physical force. He's cheating on me, Maya, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. With Sophie, his new colleague. Maya's eyes widened. Are you sure? I nodded, recounting the overheard phone call. I need to know for certain. I need proof. Maya reached across the table, squeezing my hand. Then get it. Follow him if you have to. You deserve the truth, Lena. Her words steeled my resolve. That afternoon, I found myself parked outside Gavin's office, my heart pounding. As he emerged, I slouched down in my seat, watching him climb into his car. I followed at a distance, my palms sweating on the steering wheel. Gavin pulled into the parking lot of an upscale hotel. Moments later, a sleek red car arrived. Sophie stepped out, all long legs and flowing hair. My stomach churned as I watched Gavin embrace her, leading her inside with a familiarity that spoke volumes. I sat there, numb, as the minutes ticked by. An hour later, they emerged, laughing and holding hands. The sight shattered something inside me. I drove home in a daze, my mind racing. When Gavin returned that evening, I couldn't hold back. "How was your meeting with Sophie?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. Gavin froze, his eyes darting to mine. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me," I spat. "I saw you at the hotel." His face contorted with anger. "You followed me? How dare you? How dare I?" I laughed bitterly. "You're the one having an affair." Gavin's demeanor shifted, a smug smile replacing his scowl. "So what if I am? Sophie appreciates me. She doesn't nag about money or try to hold me back." His words hit me like a slap. "Is that what you think I do?" "Face it, Lena," he sneered. "You're lucky to have me. Who else would put up with your constant worrying and pathetic attempts at a career?" In that moment, something inside me snapped. I saw Gavin for who he truly was, not the charming man I'd fallen in love with, but a manipulative, selfish coward. "You're right about one thing, Gavin," I said, my voice steady. "I am lucky. Lucky that I finally see you for who you really are." As I turned to walk away, I felt a strange sense of calm. The truth was out, and with it came the realization that I deserved so much more than this. It was time to reclaim my life, and I knew exactly where to start. The tension in the room was palpable as I faced Gavin, my hands trembling with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "So what now?" I demanded, my voice barely above a whisper. Gavin leaned back, a smirk playing on his lips. "Now? Well, I think we can come to an arrangement." "An arrangement?" I echoed, incredulous. He nodded, his eyes cold. "You stay here, manage the house. Sophie and I will need someone to keep things running smoothly." The audacity of his suggestion knocked the wind out of me. "You can't be serious." "Why not?" Gavin shrugged. "It's what you're good at, isn't it? Playing house." Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. Gavin's face lit up. "Ah, that must be Mother." I called her over to discuss our new situation. Rhea swept in, her critical gaze immediately falling on me. "Lena, dear, you look dreadful. What's all this fuss about?" Gavin quickly interjected. "Mother, Lena's having trouble accepting some changes in our relationship." Rhea's eyebrows shot up. "Changes? What changes?" I opened my mouth to speak, but Gavin beat me to it. "I've met someone else, Mother. Someone who understands me better." To my horror, Rhea's face softened with understanding. "Oh, Gavin, these things happen. Lena, dear, surely you can see this is for the best." I stared at them both, feeling as if I'd stepped into some bizarre alternate reality. "For the best? He's cheating on me." Rhea waved her hand dismissively. Now, let's not be dramatic. Gavin's offered you a perfectly reasonable solution. You can stay here, maintain your lifestyle. What more could you want?" The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. They were both completely delusional, living in a world where their actions had no consequences. "What I want," I said, my voice growing stronger with each word, "is respect. Honesty. Love. Things neither of you seem capable of giving." Gavin rolled his eyes. "Don't be naive, Lena. This is the real world. You should be grateful for what I'm offering." In that moment, something inside me snapped. I was done being the dutiful wife, the obedient daughter-in-law. It was time to reclaim my life. "Keep your offer," I spat. "I'm done being your doormat. Both of you." As I stormed out of the room, leaving Gavin and Rhea sputtering in shock, a plan began to form in my mind. They thought they could discard me so easily? They were about to learn just how wrong they were. For the first time in years, I felt truly alive. The catalyst for change had been ignited, and there was no turning back now. I sat at the kitchen table, my laptop open before me, fingers flying across the keyboard. The house was quiet, Gavin out with Sophie, no doubt. Perfect. With each click, I transferred our joint accounts into Gavin's name. Credit cards, mortgages, loans, all of it. Let him deal with the financial mess he'd created. My heart raced as I worked, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through me. This was it. The point of no return. I glanced at the suitcase by the door, packed with essentials. Maya had offered her spare room until I got back on my feet. I'd already lined up a few promising job interviews, determined to rebuild my career. As I finished the last transfer, I pulled out a sheet of paper. My hand trembled slightly as I began to write. Dear Rhea, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. But there's something you need to know about your precious son. I poured everything onto the page: Gavin's affair, his financial irresponsibility, his emotional manipulation. It was cathartic, finally letting it all out. As I sealed the envelope, I heard a car pull up. Gavin! My heart pounded as I grabbed my suitcase and slipped out the back door. From the shadows of the garden, I watched Gavin enter the house. Moments later, his angry shout pierced the air. He must have checked the accounts. I allowed myself a small smile of satisfaction as I turned away, heading towards my new life. The next morning, my phone buzzed incessantly. Missed calls from Gavin, voicemails from Rhea. I ignored them all, focusing instead on preparing for my first interview. It wasn't until later that evening that I finally listened to one of Rhea's messages. Lena. Her voice was uncharacteristically subdued. I had no idea. Gavin, how could he do this? To us? I'm so sorry. I closed my eyes, a wave of emotions washing over me. Part of me felt vindicated, hearing the shock and disappointment in Rhea's voice. But another part ached for the family I'd lost, the dreams that had crumbled. As I deleted the message, I caught sight of my reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back at me looked different, stronger, more determined. This was just the beginning. Gavin and Rhea were facing the consequences of their actions, and I was free. Free to rebuild, to rediscover myself, to live life on my own terms. For the first time in years, I felt truly hopeful about the future. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I was ready to face them head-on. Gavin paced the living room, his once pristine suit now wrinkled and stained. The lavish house he'd been so proud of felt like a prison, its walls closing in with each passing day. "What do you mean you can't extend the credit line?" he barked into his phone. "Do you know who I am?" The bank representative's voice remained calm but firm. "I'm sorry, Mr. Harper, but given your current financial situation, Gavin hung up, hurling the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, much like his carefully constructed facade. Sophie emerged from the bedroom, her face a mask of concern and irritation. "Gavin, what's going on? Why are there all these bills piling up?" He turned to her, forcing a smile. "It's nothing, darling. Just a temporary setback." But Sophie wasn't buying it. "Temporary? Gavin, we haven't been able to go out in weeks. The credit cards are maxed out. This house." She gestured around them. "We can't afford this." "Of course we can," Gavin snapped. "I told you I'll handle it." A knock at the door interrupted their argument. Gavin opened it to find Rhea standing there, her usual haughty expression replaced by one of disappointment and anger. "Mother," Gavin said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" Rhea pushed past him into the house. "I think it's time we had a talk, Gavin. About everything." Sophie's eyes darted between them. "Who's this?" "I'm his mother," Rhea replied coldly. "And you must be the mistress." Sophie's face flushed. "Mistress? Gavin, what is she talking about?" Gavin felt the walls of his carefully constructed life crumbling around him. "Mother, please dash." "No," Rhea cut him off. "I've been silent for too long. It's time you faced the consequences of your actions." As Rhea began to recount the contents of Lena's letter, Sophie's expression morphed from confusion to horror. Gavin watched helplessly as his new relationship disintegrated before his eyes. "You lied to me," Sophie whispered. "About everything." "Sophie, wait, Gavin reached for her, but she jerked away. "Don't touch me," she hissed. "I can't believe I fell for your act. I'm out of here." As Sophie stormed out, slamming the door behind her, Gavin turned to face his mother. The look of disgust in her eyes was almost more than he could bear. "You've made quite a mess of things, haven't you?" Rhea said, her voice dripping with disappointment. Gavin sank onto the couch, his head in his hands. For the first time, he felt the full weight of his actions crashing down upon him. The life he'd so carefully crafted was unraveling, leaving him alone to face the consequences of his choices. I smoothed down my dress, taking a deep breath before stepping into the Carter family's annual garden party. It had been months since I'd seen Gavin or Rhea, and my stomach churned with a mix of anxiety and determination. As I made my way through the crowd, I caught sight of Gavin. He looked haggard, his once impeccable appearance now disheveled. Our eyes met, and I saw a flicker of desperation cross his face. "Lena," he called out, pushing through the guests to reach me. "You came." I've been trying to reach you." I steeled myself, meeting his gaze coolly. "I'm only here because Eli asked me to come." Gavin's face fell. "Lena, please. I've made terrible mistakes. I see that now. I need you." Before I could respond, Rhea appeared at Gavin's side, her eyes widening at the sight of me. "Lena," she said, her voice lacking its usual sharp edge. I owe you an apology. I raised an eyebrow, surprised by her words. Do you? Rhea nodded, looking uncomfortable. I was wrong about you. About everything. Gavin told me what you did, transferring all the accounts. It was clever. It wasn't about being clever, I replied. It was about justice. Gavin reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Lena, please. Give me another chance. I'll do anything. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. The man I'd once loved was gone, replaced by this desperate shell. I'm sorry, Gavin, I said, my voice firm. But I've moved on. I have a new job, a new life. I'm happy. Rhea's eyes narrowed. A new job? Where? I allowed myself a small smile. I've been hired as the lead engineer for a renewable energy project. It's everything I've ever wanted professionally. Gavin's face crumpled. But what about us? Our life together. That life is over, I said, my voice steady. You made your choices, Gavin. Now you have to live with them. As if on cue, Eli appeared, placing a supportive hand on my shoulder. Everything all right here? I nodded, grateful for his presence. Yes, thank you, Eli. Gavin looked between us, realization dawning. Dad, you knew she was coming. Eli's gaze was stern. Son, it's time you faced the consequences of your actions. All of them. As Gavin's face reddened with humiliation, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. This was closure. The final page of a chapter 1 was ready to close. I turned to leave, but Rhea's voice stopped me. Lena, I truly am sorry. For everything. I looked back at her, seeing genuine remorse in her eyes. With a nod of acknowledgement, I walked away, head held high, ready to embrace my new future. I stood at the podium, surveying the sea of faces before me. It had been a year since that fateful garden party, a year of growth, challenges, and triumphs. Thank you all for coming, I began, my voice steady and confident. Today marks not just the launch of our renewable energy project, but a new chapter in sustainable living for our community. As I spoke about the project's potential impact, I caught sight of a familiar face in the crowd. Eli Carter sat in the front row, beaming with pride. Next to him, surprisingly, was Rhea, her expression a mix of admiration and regret. After the presentation, as people mingled and congratulated me, Eli approached with Rhea in tow. Lena, that was incredible, Eli said, embracing me warmly. I always knew you had it in you. Rhea stepped forward hesitantly. Lena, I don't know what to say. You've accomplished so much. I was wrong about you, about everything. I met her gaze, feeling a sense of closure wash over me. Thank you, Rhea. That means a lot. As they moved away, Maya appeared at my side, grinning. Look at you, MS. Big shot engineer. Who would have thought a year ago that we'd be here? I laughed, linking arms with her. Certainly not me. But I'm glad we are. Later that evening, as I stood on the balcony of my new apartment, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here. The pain, the betrayal, the fear, it had all led to this moment of triumph. My phone buzzed with a text from Gavin. Congratulations on the project. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you can forgive me someday. I stared at the message, feeling a complex mix of emotions. But as I looked out at the city lights, I realized that forgiveness wasn't about absolving Gavin of his actions. It was about freeing myself from the weight of resentment. I typed a simple reply. Thank you. I wish you well. As I hit send, I felt the last vestiges of my old life fall away. The woman I was now, strong, independent, successful, she was the person I'd always been meant to be. I thought about the challenges that lay ahead, the projects to tackle, the life I was building for myself. For the first time in years, I felt truly excited about the future. As the sun set on another day, I raised a glass to myself, to new beginnings, and to the power of resilience. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth every step. This wasn't just a new chapter. It was a whole new story, and I couldn't wait to see how it unfolded.